that is where she laid her eggs. Hey everyone, welcome back to the reptile room. Today, we're gonna talk about Roni and how he bit my wife. You see, he's right here. He is doing very well. Well, look at this big boy. He's still grounded right now because of what happened, but we're gonna get into that real quick. What I was told from my wife, Lora, is that she was having Roni out and about like we typically do. We'll typically just open this door and let him go wander around for a while like we have always done. I was outside, I was not in here, and she came outside and looked pretty upset and came up to me and said, "You're lucky your lizard is still in one piece." And well, I'm gonna go ahead and put a picture up on the screen. I'm gonna refresh it for myself here. Ouch. Like, yeah, for real, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, so I don't really blame her for being pretty pissed off, to be honest about it. What happened? What led up to Lora being bitten by Roni? How did that happen? You know, Rhino Iguanas are supposed to be docile as they grow, and that's, you know, one thing, and each animal is a little bit different, but she had him out roaming around, and she was getting ready. She opened the door. The door was still open anyway. We just leave it so he can go back whenever he wants. And she was trying to guide him back there, and he had climbed up onto the bottom, and she was standing out of the way. She said he turned around, looked like he was trying to jump to her leg to climb up and get pets, like I was mentioning, and instead he jumped over and just grasped right onto her calf, you know, and got a really good bite. And you'll see that in the pictures. And so that was over a month ago, month and a week or so, 5 weeks now. And so the current status of her wound, her bite wound, is this. So that's why he's been a little bit on, you know, he's been on house arrest essentially right now. But yeah, I'm not sure. I was not down here when it happened, so I'm not entirely sure what changed, or if anything. She says that she didn't do anything different than normal, and I believe her on that. So it's just one of those things that I wasn't down here. It's hard to really gauge. I'm wondering if maybe he got like a pheromone whiff and got into a breeding mode and just decided she was too close to his space. I know that he's run me out of his enclosure when he's in a really bad mood in the past. That's how her side went down until I came in here. Needless to say, when I came down here, it was a whole different story. Well, let's see what we have going on in here. Oh, alright, wasn't prepared for that. No reptiles were harmed in the making of the reenactment. When I walked in the room, I just opened it. I didn't know what to expect. So I opened up the door, and he charged right at me, at the door, mouth open, rushing. And I wasn't really prepared for that, so I did kind of dip out pretty quick. And I grabbed a tote, and kind of, while I came in, and when he charged me again, I just got him into the tote. This door was already open, and then I just moved him in here. I just did some slow, deliberate movements and tried to minimize any chance of being bitten myself by this guy. After that, I put him on, you know, we went through some frustration with him. That whole week he was just ticked, and that's hard to, it's a little bit challenging to deal with a larger animal when it's super aggro for a week, and in a giant enclosure, and when you typically just open it up and let it kind of come out and hang out, you know, he usually will climb up your leg and just be a puppy dog. He just wants to be petted all the time. And I've watched a couple other videos on Rhino Iguanas, and everyone's like, well, they're really chill. And yeah, you know, I will have to say now, 99% of the time, we must be the 1%, or at least my wife is the 1% who gets bitten by a Rhino Iguana. You know, we did have a little, a week where he was grouchy the whole week, and we really didn't know what to do. One thing that we had considered with Roni is actually rehoming him. And to be honest, we did make an attempt. I put him up on Morph Market. As you saw earlier, I was able to pull him out. I am able to work with him. Lora, my wife, is not too happy with him still. And I don't really blame her, but she will come around. We'll be working together, especially when we get outside. Right now, it's a little bit challenging in this room just because you can get boxed into a corner, and it makes it a little bit more challenging to grab him, especially when he's running really fast. You know, I'm still happy. I had considered moving the basilisks into this and giving this gigantic space to the Emerald Basilisks with a giant water area and whatnot. I still think that would be a really cool idea, but we have Roni, and we're gonna keep him for now. For now, we're gonna keep him. We're gonna end up hanging on to him. He's gonna be cool. I have made a, you know, a little pointer ball, and when I work with him, this does not work like how I thought it was going to work training-wise with Roni. I thought I was going to be able to use food. It seems like 90% of the time, if you go and just stick this right in front of him, he'll just puff up like he's going to be petted. Typically on that corner when he's basking, I'll just go and stick this up there. And you know, the other thing we can do is use this to kind of like, you know, stick out and just kind of put this up against the ground, the ball on the ground, and kind of use this to steer his head away. It's just another little prop, and you know, it's just a dog toy that already had holes in it. This size for this dowel rod, stuck it in hot glue. I made myself a little bit of a handle. So that's where we're going with it. I am super pumped, guys. Yesterday and the day before, I was noticing a lot of digging going on in here, and I caught some of it on camera. So if you're not familiar with this enclosure is my basilisk enclosure, my emerald or plumed basilisk enclosure. We have 3 of them in here. I have a male who's down on the bottom, and he'll probably come up. He's very flamboyant, he's got some blue spots, and you know, they're bright green. They have the sails and a big plume on their head. Very cool, very interesting display animals, and very active, fun to watch. Looks like he got himself a little bit stuck. And then we have 2 female basilisks in here as well. So I noticed that they were getting really plump. And I knew it was only a matter of time until we saw something. right where the male is standing now, bobbing his head, all dark. That is where she laid her eggs. And you want to get in there pretty quick and pull the eggs out before any other females are digging around if, you know, they grab it at the same time. And I can tell right now that she is the one who laid the eggs because she looks deflated. There's a full bowl of food down in there. There was while she was laying and whatnot, but she seemed to went into a trance. I wasn't prepared to see her laying on the nest. That's where I was able to narrow it down, and I used my time-lapse video to find the nest location very easily because she dug quite a few little test holes. So down here is my incubator setup that I have. It is an older Coleman cooler. It's got some water in it. I have a fish tank heater in it that's heating the water and warming up the inside of the whole thing. And I also have an air pump going to an air stone. You guys know that I love my air stones in here. So that's gonna help keep the water flowing and all a more even temperature throughout. And then I just have a little temperature probe on here. You wanna keep the temperature between 84 and 88. So we're shooting for upper 80s. Now, this is my first time incubating these eggs, and they say they're similar to colubrids. I've never bred colubrids. I've never incubated any eggs, but we'll see how this goes. You know, hey, fingers crossed. I hope a couple hatch at least. Hopefully I'll get better. It was a little bit like the leopard geckos at the beginning when they started to lay. There were some infertiles. I can't tell if these are infertile or not. I candled them. It's really difficult to see. I mean, they're the size of jelly beans. It's so weird. So I wonder if maybe this is just her first clutch. So she might have infertiles there. One of the things with breeding the basilisks is that they are very prolific and they're gonna lay quite a few clutches of eggs. And I have two females in there and they're both gravid. I can tell that the other one is gonna lay probably within a week or so, I would have to imagine. If you guys are interested in having some captive bred basilisks, emerald basilisks, just shoot me a message and let me know. I would love to kind of find homes for them before I produce a whole bunch of them because I don't want to overrun myself and I don't just want to throw a whole bunch on Morph Market. You can see that the enclosure setup that I have seems to be really good. If there's breeding activity and you're getting eggs, temperatures, UVB, water, humidity, all that stuff, food seems to be doing pretty well. So those are all markers of a good environment. I do have some other plans for the basilisks coming up, but I want to make another basilisk video, and if you guys want to see that, just basilisk dedicated, drop a bunch of likes down below, leave it in the comments, and I will do a good dedicated update to basilisks, their maintenance, how I'm keeping them. We'll go over all the eggs way more in depth. So that's the story of how my wife Lora got bit by Roni and I was attacked by our Rhino Iguana. All seems like it's going pretty well right now with him. Like I said, we're going through the training and he's enjoying that, at least I think so. He's being well fed, everything's going very well with him. He's gonna be hanging around. I can't wait to put him back outside in his giant outdoor enclosure. So please hit the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already so you guys can stay tuned and see when we put him back outside and how these basilisk eggs are gonna come along. And let me know if you guys wanna see that review on the Thrive enclosure from PetSmart that I got and this basilisk enclosure. And that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. We'll see you next week.